Welcome back to City Wrestling Radio Retro Reviews. I'm your host, Corey Smith, being joined, as always, by my co-host, who joins me each and every week and each and every month, Mr. Jose Oseguera. How are you today, sir?
Oh, you're doing great on this Macho Retro Review. Did it.
Snap into a Slim Jim, you know.
Snap into it.
How are you today?
I'm doing very good. A little tired. We did a little Universal trip, but I'm glad to be here.
You know, you got to go down there. You got to go see the Mario, the Luigi, the Peach.
Shark pop out of the water.
Oh, Jaws.
Yes.
I always loved the tour where it takes you to like the fake BART station.
It's not there anymore.
Well,
now it's I mean, they said every tour is a little bit different, so maybe they'll bring it back. But this year they had, now we're going to go by old-timey Mexico. Oh, and there's flash floods around this time. Oh, no, there's water coming on your left. So that's what we went through this year with the water.
I want to see an old BART train get flooded. That's all. That's all I want to see.
And an earthquake, right? Because you get an earthquake along with that.
But we're not here to talk about Universal Studios in 2023. We're here to talk about WCW Fall Brawl 1996. And wow, this was I feel like just kind of a show.
Yeah, you're right. We got to stop watching these through 2023 lenses or current lenses. We have to take ourselves back to really
I'm trying.
Yeah, I tried really hard. It was tough, man. But
I'm wearing green. I'm wearing green for War Games.
Yeah. I think I was more excited when this was happening live because you anticipated the main event. You wanted the main. No, that's Sting. I'm telling you, that's not Sting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, looking back at those eyes, you just couldn't wait for the show to get along. There were a ton of lulls in this show. Some high points. We'll go through them.
Yes. No. Yeah. So this is, like I said, this is the beginning of the NWO. This is kind of why I chose this. Mm-hmm. They're kind of beginning their reign of terror in WCW, just recruiting the Giant, which was weird because Hogan beat the Giant for the belt. Like they cheated to win at Hog Wild months before. And now the Giant's like, hey, if you can't beat him, join him mentality, I suppose. Yeah. And it's weird because the Giant is very young. He's he's in his early 20s.
At the time, he was the youngest WCW World Heavyweight Champion at the ripe age of 21. Now, was this his second reign, do you know? Or his first initial reign as champion?
See, I don't know.
Okay, I'm thinking it might have been the second reign, so he was probably maybe mid-20s, 23, 24?
I believe guess. 23, yeah, because, I don't know, and I feel like he kind of seemed like everything kind of went to his head a little bit, you know what I mean? Like a little big for his britches, I mean, he's like 7 foot, whatever. Nonetheless, this took place September 15th, 1996 from the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We had 11,300 in attendance. The official tagline for the show is, "Want to play with the big boys in a cage?"
Creative.
I love going and finding these taglines because you never hear them. It's not like you say, "Hey, Daddy, listen, you want to play with the big boys in a cage? Listen, baby, you'll do it tonight."
Yeah, it was probably a commercial for the pay-per-view, right?
Or it was just on like the VHS tapes.
Yeah, totally. Also maybe the you know how they had almost like infomercials for the pay-per-views.
Yes.
Certain channels they would watch live this Sunday, play with the big boys in a cage.
But while some big boys were playing in cages, let's take a quick look at 1996. Shall we?
Let's
little piece of little trip through music, movie, and TV history. All right,
let's go.
Start off with the top 5 songs in 1996, the week of 9/15, I believe it was. Start off with number 5. Eric Clapton, "Change the World." Reminds me of elementary school. We got "Loungin'" by Ladies Love Cool James. Keith Sweat with "Twisted."
Good song. I remember that.
"I Love You Always Forever" by Donna Lewis.
I don't remember that song.
And the number 1 song 39 weeks in a row for the week of September 15th is Macarena by Los Del Rio, the
Oh
Bayside Boys
no,
mix.
dude! I just got over therapy, and they barely scraped that song out of my memory bank, and now it's back.
Hey,
Thanks,
Macarena.
1996.
Well, I mean, it is one of the greatest songs of all time.
I guess
The top shows for 1992, The Naked Truth coming in at number 5, tied with Friends.
92.
With
You
this,
mean 96?
you're right. I just didn't change this. I didn't change it in my script, but we got Naked Truth followed by Friends, and then Suddenly Susan, Seinfeld, and ER, all from NBC. All very, very, very white shows.
ER was an excellent show, though. Seinfeld,
Really?
fucking amazing. Yeah, I dug ER back then.
Okay, Seinfeld was good. Seinfeld was
Seinfeld's
good.
good. Still is. Suddenly Susan, I don't remember that. Friends,
Uh,
Friends.
I remember the show, the name Suddenly Susan for a show.
Yeah, me too. I don't remember the show at all.
And then the top 5 movies for this week: The Rich Man's Wife coming in at number 5. Number 4, Tin Cup. Hey, number 3, Bulletproof. I believe that's starring Tupac Shakur, right?
Oh, you're right. You're right. And Belushi, right?
And we got don't know.
Okay,
But I remember Tupac was in it.
okay.
Fly Away Home coming in at number 2, and Maximum Risk.
That's
Number
our
1.
summer blockbusters.
Well, September, or yeah, September
September. Oh yeah,
1996.
coming off of the summer blockbusters. They might have been tired.
I believe Independence Day was holding strong in the box office still for multiple weeks. I believe it came out months prior. So, I mean, it
It's
still
probably
had their reign of terror.
It's number 6, huh?
They had their reign of terror while the NWO was continuing their reign of terror in WCW. Let's kick it off with Fall Brawl 1996. The story of the show is pretty simple. Like I said, the NWO formed at Bash at the Beach 1996, and WCW is doing everything possible to stop them. But Team WCW, that's the team of Lex Lugar, Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, and supposedly Sting, they cannot seem to get on the same page. Sting has seemingly joined the NWO, or has he? I don't know. We got Tony Schiavone, Bobby Heenan, and the Rhodes on commentary for the evening. Great team, great commentary team. I think I always love when we have Bobby Heenan and Dusty Rhodes on the same table, because I love how they kind of let Dusty sink a little bit. Listen, baby, help me out a little bit. They're like, no, you're on your own with that one. We don't know what you're talking about.
Twirly.
Got it on there. So we start off with the first match of the night.
Let's not forget the Professor Mike Tenay makes an appearance once or twice.
I believe this is his start in WCW. Am I wrong? Or
no? They did,
because I feel like they were like introducing him as wrestling journalist Mike Tenay.
Yeah.
So maybe he was there. I don't know, but that's what I got from him, because I was watching a few weeks leading up to this for Nitro.
No showed everything. So yeah, this might have been his debut, as they say.
We kick things off with Diamond Dallas Page defeating Chavo Guerrero Jr. in about 13 minutes and 7 seconds. Chavo is also very young in this match, 25 at the time. Chavo requested this match after DDP took out his cousin Eddie Guerrero. I don't know if you knew that, but they were cousins.
Cousins or uncle nephew.
Uncle? Are they uncle nephew?
That's
that's right. It's that weird because they're like the same age.
Well, Eddie was a little, Eddie's older brother was super older.
Yes,
and he had Chavo when Eddie was younger. Okay. So yeah, it was Uncle Eddie. My wife is in one of those situations too, where she has 30-year-old nephews.
Oh, I have my second cousins are my age, and my cousin is like way older. Not way older. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. A little older than me. Well, okay. Chavo requested this match after DDP took out Eddie Guerrero after losing the diamond ring to Eddie in a match. It was a pretty basic WCW opening match. I mean, I don't think I would choose this match to open the show, but so be it. They go back and forth, eventually battling on the outside. Chavo uses a belt to whip Diamond Dallas Page. They get back in the ring and begin working holds on the mat. The match slows down a bit. Chavo, DDP throws Chavo into the second ring. Chavo, as Dusty states, hey, guess I'll whirly burly DDT to DDP in the ring.
Nice. It didn't have a name yet. We need
No,
Mark today here to let us know what these moves are called.
and he goes, "Oh yes, the whirly burly. All right. Well, Chavo. I mean, he's fresh face to the company. You
Mhm.
know." Eventually, though, we get a nice looking power bomb to Chavo, Diamond Cutter, and the pin and the win for Diamond Dallas Page. Just like I said, it was decent. Chavo and DDP looked great, but I felt like it would have been better suited for the second, maybe third card on the match. I felt they could have had better hyped up the crowd. I'm not saying that the match between them two didn't like take anything away from the show, or it did
Mhm.
take anything away from the show, but I just felt like they could have picked a better opener.
I agree
What
and disagree.
what do you think of this opening
Yeah,
match?
I agree and disagree with your take on that. Just because Rey Mysterio Super Calo could have started the show, they could have opened if Super Calo was a little bit more exciting. That being said,
I'll get
I
there.
thought this was DDP's ascension. This was the beginning of the Diamond Cutter out of nowhere. He was going to become a major player within the NWO storyline.
Absolutely, yeah. When they're trying
Yeah.
to recruit them,
So he was, he's right now he's steady climbing, and I love the way they built DDP. That's one thing that WCW did right.
mm-hmm.
Um, and this is the beginning of that. And I think him opening the show was kind of foretelling the future for DDP.
Yeah.
So
Well,
decent
I mean,
decent match, I thought. Cool ending, cool finish,
yeah.
as DDP was able to do back then. Yeah, I liked the match. It was cool.
Then I believe we have the WCW special report by Gene Okerlund, who just kind of gives you the backstory on the NWO.
Oh yeah, but before that, oh my god, we get Harlem Heat on CompuServe chatting with the friends live.
Oh, is that when they were like, "Hey," they're like talking to like the nerdy guy in the middle, and they're like, "Hey, type this, type that." He's like, "I'm going as fast as I can. Please don't beat me up, Harlem Heat."
Is sucker with an A or with an AH?
Is it A apostrophe? I just want to be correct, Mr. Harlem.
Yeah.
It's best T to you. All right, Mr. T. No, I guess he wouldn't be Mr. T, would he?
No, it wouldn't be Mr.
He's like, I'm confused. Should I call you Mr. T or is that
Is
like
it just
offensive? I
Booker
don't
or
know.
Booker T? Mr. Booker T?
Mr. Booker, Mr. I'm just gonna address hey, Mr. Stevie Ray. Anyways,
There you go.
we go into the next match. Definitely one I wouldn't have opened the show with, but we get Ice Train that with Teddy Long defeating Scott Norton in a submission match in 7 minutes and 8 seconds. So I feel like when I was watching this, and I feel like, I really wish I wouldn't had seen Hobbs and Miro battle before I watched this, or after, or at least during and rewatching, because
I was lucky enough to
man,
watch it before.
man, I feel like it was one of those situations. It's like when you're at the grocery store and you ask your mom for a Haas fight and you're hoping to get Hobbs and Miro, and she's like, "We have Haas fights at home. You get this match."
Yeah, totally. Look,
Uh,
uh, Ice Train and Norton walked so that Hobbs and Miro could run. Let's say
okay,
that.
okay, oh, that's true. And Scott Norton, I mean, he's a former IWGP champion,
Beast.
but a submission match, like,
Yeah. Did he have like a
uh,
camel clutch or something?
I believe, yeah, at one point, yeah. The former tag team of Fire and Ice have imploded. These two big, beefy men are determined to make the other tap. Ice Train begins to work the left arm of Norton. Ice Train goes for multiple standing splashes to Norton, but Norton dodges the third one, hitting a DDT on Ice Train. That's when Norton takes over. We have a power slam to Norton by Ice Train. And then Norton locks in an armbar. Ice Train reverses, locks in a reverse armbar, clothesline, leg drop combo to Scott Norton, a sidewalk slam, Boston Crab to Train. And throughout the match, though, Teddy Long keeps threatening to throw in the towel. And for some reason, this angers Scott Norton, who would win the match if the towel's thrown in.
Yeah.
So it didn't make any sense to me. Teddy Long also, he just looked nervous the entire night.
Mhm.
I felt like he looked nervous, and he was a little thicker than I'm used to.
Yeah.
He
was,
still has that
healthy.
baby fat.
Yeah, living healthy there, guy.
Teddy gets on the edge of the ring. Norton pulls him in, allowing Ice Train to attack him from behind. He locks in the dreaded full Nelson and submits Scott Norton. Ice Train winning was a little unexpected for me. I thought Norton would have had a little bit more of a push. This was a decent, big, beefy Haas fight. But again, like I said, I'm
Well,
looking at it through 2023 eyes.
yeah, and let's realize that NWO is on the card, so we have to get as many babyface wins as possible.
Is Ice Train? That's the thing. Is like I've watched about a month of Nitro before this, and I didn't get the build to this at all. Like I kind of saw a little bit here and there, but I didn't know who the babyface and who the heel was in this match.
I think it's a little bit more of a Saturday night thing. Like I don't think this was covered on Nitro. I think it was covered on WCW Saturday night. You know, where the
Big boys
pre-tape
play.
ones from the
Not in the cage
in a recording studio in Orlando.
Yeah. I mean that makes more sense. So, what did you think of the match overall, though?
Yeah, for the time, I guess it was cool. I don't remember the storyline, so I don't have anything invested in this. I don't remember it. I'm in the dark.
There you go. Two big beefy guys.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Conan.
I don't want technical matches. I don't want 60-minute Iron Man matches.
Big meaty man slapping meat.
That's what I want.
Next up, we have Conan defeating Juventud Guerrera to retain the Mexican Heavyweight Championship in 13 minutes and 45 seconds.
Was there a title? I didn't see a title. Was there a title?
No, there was no title.
Come on, you guys.
But they build that's the prestigious Mexican heavyweight title, baby. It's been fought and lost many times throughout the years.
So it's lost.
So Juvi is representing the Federal District of Mexico. And while he comes to the ring, he does make a little bit of a trip on the way to the ring. Conan now sporting his LA gangster look, a drastic difference from his debut gear. This match, like I said, is for the Mexican Heavyweight Championship, but there's no title ever to be seen. So the elephant in the room, Mike Tenay's explanation for Conan's new look, which I don't know. It was all over the place. Tenay, who I believe is from LA, who has, a little bit of recognition, a little street cred in LA, I guess, right?
Okay.
Well, according to him,
yeah.
Tenay says when Conan came to America, there were attempts to Americanize him, but Conan rather wanted to represent his roots and to represent all the cholos of Mexico.
That's sketch. I really hope Conan wrote this script for Mike Tenay, dude.
So
because if they wrote it for him, this is trash.
I thought the cholo thing came from LA.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was like an LA thing, like because a lot of people immigrated to, California.
Yeah, even though the original word cholo is a old indigenous word.
Okay,
I won't go into the history. It's spelled with an XO. Anyway, fast forward. Look it up. Wikipedia, you guys. Anyway, how I understand it was the cholo culture was invented a little bit after the Zoot Suit color. The Zoot Suit era.
Yeah. After the Zoot Suit riots.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit ignorant. Who knows? Let's all do some homework. All right. We'll come back to it.
So these two go back and forth with some decent lucha action. We have a tope suicida to Conan. Juvi goes for a hurricane rana to Conan off the ring barrier, but Conan catches Juvi and hits him with a power bomb. There is a very sweet moment I just wanted to point out, and it struck me when I saw it. Juventud on the outside, and he's leaning against the barrier, and this old lady just gets up and she like pats him on the shoulder. She goes, "You can do it, Juvi. Get back in there."
Yes,
and it was like a grandma, and it was the sweetest moment of the entire night.
Yeah,
she gets
the times of the grandma in the crowd, front row. I miss those days. I miss those.
Yeah,
days. They can be very passionate grandmas.
And even what was the Texas World Class Championship Wrestling? You always had grandmas.
Mm-hmm.
Given they're Texas, so they're probably hateful grandmas, but they were grandmas nonetheless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with the SAG.
And I'm not saying grandmas right now from Texas are hateful, but it's the 80s. It's Texas. Come on. So let's be real here. It was a different era.
I mean, most of America was pretty hateful.
This match begins to drag, though, at a certain point. We have a 450 splash to Conan, spinning something splash to Conan. I don't know why I said that, but muscle buster to Juvi, power drop Razor's Edge into a power bomb to Hoovy, and Conan gets the pin in the win. I wasn't a huge fan of this match. It seemed a little bit sloppy at times.
Mm-hmm.
But and it went a little bit too long, but it was what it was. What did you think of this match, Jose?
The match was what like you said, it is what it is. It was what it was. At this point, we know that Conan was instrumental in bringing the Mexican talent over from AAA, I believe.
So he can have whatever gimmick he
so
wants.
They actually, I'm sure, because he was an ambassador and he was bringing over all this talent, they would, give him a ton of power when it came to the matches and how they would play out and how much time. Come on, Eric, you're gonna have to give me and Hoovy at least 20 minutes, man.
What did they get? Was it 13:45?
Okay, 10 is enough, bro. You're gonna have to give me 13.
So I mean, Conan, hey, he's one of the greatest, of all time. Not the greatest. I mean, let's be real. But
hell of a talker, hell of a talent, hell of a backstage. I don't want to say politician.
I mean, he's a promoter. He's he's been, I guess, a role model for some people.
Yeah, he's a genius at maneuvering within the wrestling business.
There you go. Good
very
work.
Keen to the business. So big props.
Next up, we have Chris Benoit defeating Chris Jericho in the Battle of the Chris's in 14 minutes and 36 seconds. After the match begins, the two begin slamming each other. But Benoit seems to start working a clinic on Jericho early on in the match. Am I wrong, or is this Jericho's first pay-per-view?
I think it is. I think they mentioned something about that.
Eventually, we do see Benoit lock in a lion tamer to Jericho. Jericho takes over, hitting a springboard dropkick to Benoit. So you see a lot of kind of what makes Jericho early on in this.
Very good point.
The springboard dropkick, the springboard moonsault, a lot of springboard stuff actually.
Yeah,
and it's probably akin to his lucha action from back in the day. So the two men begin chopping the snot out of each other. Jericho lands on his feet and dodges a lion salt at what? Sorry, let me rewind. Jericho lands on his feet after an attempted lion salt that Benoit dodged. Clothesline to Benoit, Hurricane Rana to Benoit. Jericho clotheslined or crotched. Sorry, Jericho crotched on the top rope. Super back superplex to Jericho, and Benoit gets the pin and the win. I thought it was a good match. It went, I think it went when it went. It was pretty solid though. The one thing I will say, the one thing I was talking about earlier, the opening match of the show, I feel like this could have been the great opening match of the show, and I also feel like this could have been a submission match. I feel like this could have been the submission match instead of Norton and Ice Train. That could have been a big, beefy slap fest,
Yeah, totally.
What did you think of this match?
Yeah, cool match. At this point, we know Jericho's a newcomer, but it's totally shown his potential as a talent and his potential to be a top talent. Chris Benoit is Chris Benoit, the established star who he is. Both guys have very similar backgrounds, learning in Mexico, learning in Japan, both Canadian. Yes. Are they both students of the
Heart Dungeon?
Yeah.
I believe they both. I mean, Jericho was Benoit. I don't remember if Benoit was, but
okay. Well, be it as it may, both are set up to put on a good show, and they did. I had fun watching this. This really shows the future potential of who Jericho is going to become, right?
Yeah, I do love how when you talk about this match, you go, Jericho's great, and Benoit, he is a wrestler who wrestled. It's like I feel like anytime anyone talks about Benoit, it's like Chat GPT talk. Like Chris Benoit was a Canadian professional wrestler.
Oh, and that was done on purpose, 100%. I won't say anything positive about this guy, but
no, absolutely,
he worked very well.
He had matches with technical submissions involved, and he was
did
skilled at them.
Too many flying headbutts.
Yes. Next match. Oh God. Jesus Christ. In the second longest fucking match of the night. Rey Mysterio defeating Super Calo. Ooh. So I have no memory of Super Calo. I do remember his look slightly, but I always got him confused. I always thought that was like Conan's first look when I was a kid. Like,
no.
But what you know what? It would have been a good transition like going from Lucha to this look and then to Cholo, because
Yeah, because that
Super Calo.
was in between Lucha Cholo. Yeah, he had a Kango backwards sewn into the mask,
Oh,
and
and you
then
know what I loved? When
the sunglasses.
the hat almost came off, and it was bald. He was like bald on the top.
See, I
He
didn't
was
notice
missing the
that.
top of the mask. Yeah,
Okay.
the glasses were sewn into the mask as well on the
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
And he just looks ridiculous.
Mhm.
I
I
mean,
mean,
and
at
then
the time, it was pretty cool. I gotta admit, I was a fan. I was a fan, but I didn't know as much as I do now. I was a kid.
Calo doesn't really have the high flying skills as his competitor, Mr. Rey Mysterio Jr. He's a bit bigger and works more, well, as Mike Tenay says, an Americanized style. The beginning of this match is pretty slow. We have a power bomb to Ray. Calo keeps going down, keeps going for his drop kick over and over again. Calo does a dive to the ground, but looks visibly hurt after doing the dive. This match has been about 90% of Super Calo working on Ray slowly. Eventually, we get an inverted surfboard to Ray, a somersault senton to Calo. This is when the match, I believe, at least in my opinion, begins to overstay its welcome. Ray begins a comeback with a Hurricane Rana, a baseball slide, a sunset flip, splash, a corkscrew, springboard moonsault. And despite Ray building his comeback, this match is just going way too long, even to the point where Tony Schiavone says something like, "I'm getting tired of covering this thing."
Yeah.
And it's just
damn, way to bury your talent.
Double springboard Frankensteiner to Calo, and Ray gets the pin and the win. This match was not good at all. It needed to end 5 to 10 minutes earlier than it did. Ray looked good, but wow, this Super Calo, I'm kind of glad I don't remember him. Maybe there was a reason. Maybe my brain just like blocked out the trauma of Super Calo.
Well, you don't remember Super Calo and Damien 666?
No, I remember. Oh, I remember Damien 666. He still wrestles.
He does.
What were your thoughts on this match, Jose?
Okay, I think you're not remembering what year it is, number one. Number two, the story of the match is they're trying to establish Rey Mysterio as this comeback kid, a kid that could take a beating. He's only maybe 20 years old at the time, maybe 18.
But he's a cruiserweight champion.
Yeah, and he's showing his resilience. Every match, he gets his ass beat. Every single match up to this point, right? So they're just emphasizing that, and they're drilling into our skulls that Rey Mysterio, as much as you step on him, he's always going to come back. Oh, and if they make a cucaracha joke, I'm going to fucking be pissed. But I thought it was a decent match. Super Calo is who he is. He wasn't, El Santo. He wasn't Santo Jr. He wasn't, he's not your superstar luchador. He was fighting an American style. I'll give Mike Tenay that. Not an Americanized style, but an American style. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio was made to look good. He ends up looking great. Because of Rey Mysterio's injuries, he can't do this finisher like he used to. And that made my day, seeing the finisher as it was back in 96. It's that top rope Hurricanrana that just whipped underneath the guy's legs and he trapped the guys. Oh, yeah. Thing of beauty, that fucking move.
I mean, Rey Mysterio is great. There's a reason why he is still... Well, I mean, he had that... what does he have to... Did he have that... Oh, God, was it stem cell treatment? I believe at one point, because he was starting to kind of wear down, and then he had the stem cell replacement treatment or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he just popped right back up.
Yeah.
They should make that stuff into a pre-workout. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man.
The recovery time was nothing.
I was in there for like 4 hours. Next up, we have Harlem Heat defeating the Nasty Boys to retain the WCW Tag Team Championships. Sags and Stevie Ray begin this match. This is an old school, early 90s brawling match. Sags knocks Ray down with an elbow. Nasties try to go after Sherry, but are stopped by Double H, Harlem Heat. Back and forth between the two teams. Booker beating down on Brian Knobbs. Sherry slaps Knobbs at one point. Sherry is in the ring being chased by Sags. Pile driver to Booker by Sags. Sags is tripped on the top rope by Colonel Parker. That wasn't his name in WCW, though, was it?
I think it was.
Was it? Okay.
I think it was.
He was something else.
KFC guy.
Yeah. Stevie Ray knocked down by Sags as he's going for Parker. Scissor kick to Sags. More interference by Sherry. Harlem Heat misses the double clothesline. Sags slams both members of Harlem Heat into the mat. We get a hot tag to Knobs. Knobs runs wild. The Nasties hit their finisher, but the ref is distracted by Colonel Parker and Sherry in the ring with a cane, and Sherry strikes Knobs. Booker T rolls him over and gets the pin and the win. Now, this match wasn't the greatest technical match, but I thought it was fun. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was a good match, but it could be just because it came after the drizzling shits of Super Culo. Just saying. Okay. Jose, what were your thoughts on this match?
Okay, the NWO is the only reason why Harlem Heat doesn't get the props that it gets as one of the classic tag teams ever, anywhere. Yeah. Too bad for that. You know, I love those guys. Nasty Boys here, though, they really send off a late 80s, early. I'm talking about 91.
Well, they never changed their look. They had the same
exactly,
look.
Yeah. And, you know, as over as they were, I never got it. They were definitely ECW guys.
They're like the punk rock guys.
Yeah, they seemed. It looked like they were fake punk rock guys. they really fit in ECW very well. Anytime they went anywhere where the lights were brighter, not so much.
Yeah.
Good match. Good transition. Yeah, it was, you know, C plus match. Okay.
It was what it was.
Booker is who he is. Stevie Ray is who he is. Yeah. Amazing, awesome.
Sherry.
But, you know,
great.
Sherry does her job nicely. I don't know what Colonel Parker's doing there. I don't understand.
It was always a weird team. Sherry, Colonel Parker, and Harlem Heat. I get like, oh, the Southern real estate guys hired a couple gangsters to rough up some people, but then where does crazy Sherry Martel come into it? You know?
Yeah. No, it feels okay. Maybe I'm looking at it through 2023 lens, but it comes off very fucking racist. It does. You know, the plantation guy hired himself. Whoa, man. Whoa.
Couple guys. Yeah.
Couple
guys. Yeah. I could definitely see that because Colonel Parker definitely had plantation owner vibes.
Mm-hmm.
He had how many spices are there? 47 herbs and spices.
Oh, dude.
and all the money he could buy anyone with. Mm-hmm. Next up, the Giant defeated Randy Savage in just about 7 minutes and 47 seconds. It's a Randy Savage match, so he goes right after the Giant as the bell rings. Giant pulls Randy out of the ring, and when Randy goes for a slam, he couldn't stand to lift the Giant, and the Giant falls directly on top of Randy Savage. Giant throws him into the ring. Giant has early control of this match. Giant locks Randy into the Boston Crab, which is weird to see him because he's such a big man. Mm-hmm. We have a bear hug to Randy, an eye rake to Giant. Randy comes off the top rope. Giant catches him and slams him down. Randy dodges the knee, leaving Giant hurt for Randy to take over. We have a sloppy bulldog to Giant. Big man slam to Giant. So then Randy Savage goes for the clothesline, or not the clothesline, the elbow drop. And that's when Hulk Hogan comes out to lure Randy Savage away. And then the NWO attacks. Because also, Nick Patrick, he's the referee of this match. Mm-hmm. And for the past few weeks, like there's been, is he with the NWO? Is he not?
He's been doing a lot of whoopsie moments. Yeah.
But I feel like WCW has kind of been shitting on him left and right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like they're just like questioning every, like you messed up one time, so you're a horrible referee and you're with the NWO, aren't you? And he's like, dude, I messed up. And then like the NWO takes advantage and lures this guy in, you know? Mm-hmm. But he's with the Giant on one end of the ring. That's when the NWO beats up on Randy. They bring him back into the ring, and Giant just rolls Randy up and gets the pin and the win. I mean, I guess it plays into the overall storyline of the NWO with Nick Patrick, but the match was kind of slow. Giant is young and trying, you know, and while Randy is getting up there in age, Giant defeating Randy in this match, I mean, it's some sort of rub, you know?
100%, yeah.
Despite the interference. What did you think of this match?
I mean, it is what it is. The story that you're trying to tell is you're trying to incapacitate WCW by taking out one of its lead members. And Macho Man. So the best way to do that was to have the interference. It solved the problem.
And Macho Man already has a title shot
Yes.
planned at Halloween Havoc.
Yeah. They told the story. They told the story well. It served its purpose. Let's say that. At the time, the Giant, not very learned, let's say.
Yeah.
So yeah, Macho Man carried the shit out of his match. His promo was always amazing because the promo before this was awesome. When does it fail? Never.
I do love he had the Monday Night Nitro gear,
the yellow
but,
and
yeah, but it actually had the Nitro logo, and I was like, man,
Mhm,
Mattel needs to get on that one.
Ooh.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Team NWO defeating Team WCW in War Games in the longest match of the night, 18 minutes and 15 seconds. So Mike Tenay is backstage with the faces. Flair says this is Horseman country, and even though they can pick a replacement for Sting, they decide, let's just go at 3-on-4. And I just feel like, I know you're trying to give the heels the advantage in War Games, but what? Like, don't be dumb.
Didn't Bobby Heenan sell a mystery partner?
Well, they were saying, eventually during the match, they said, no, we have a mystery partner. We have somebody else coming to fill the 4th spot. But Ric Flair going into it, thinking that it would be, 3-on-4.
Yeah.
Without picking Mongo. Like, hey, Mongo, you want in?
Yeah.
Anyone.
Benoit, you just got off a win. Come help us out.
Yeah, I mean, you don't look too winded. You can go again, right? Yeah.
Super Calo, you busy?
In walks while they're still backstage, Sting walks into the Faces locker room, and this is after Sting seemingly came out of a limo on Monday Night Nitro and attacked Lex Lugar with the NWO, and Sting swears that wasn't him.
He would never do that. Sting would never.
He would never ever do that. And they don't believe him, and they say, we'll see where your loyalties lie in the ring.
Yeah, because if Hogan can turn, anyone can.
We get the Michael Buffer treatment for this match. Scott Hall and Arn Anderson begin this match.
Ooh, beautiful matching. Okay, let's say this before everything gets started. Back in the day, all 8 men stood in front of the cage, and they flipped the coin. And then they would look, okay, who's going to go? Sting, run in there, or whatever. This time, the coin is being flipped backstage.
And we don't even know until about like 4 minutes into the match who has the advantage. You know what I mean? When the faces already seemingly have the disadvantage.
Yeah.
So, eventually, NWO are announced that NWO wins the coin toss. Out comes Kevin Nash, and it's 2-on-1 for about two. It's funny. War Games, it always cracks me up because every time I watch War Games, any match, I'm like, the first minute's like 5 minutes. The first period's 5 minutes, right? And I'm just like, these periods are way too long. Like they should be 2 minutes. And then the next person comes out and it is 2 minutes. I forget. They announced eventually, like I said, it was 2-on-1. And then they announced, the next person's going to come out in 30 seconds. And then Lugar, just out of nowhere, with his hair just like all over the place, with his eyes wide open, just runs down to the ring with more fierceness than the Macho Man, with more madness than the Macho Man.
More madness. Alleged.
Well, I'm sure he would. Cop that.
Yeah.
Lugar runs wild on the men. Lugar is using Hall as a lawn dart, throwing him into the cage. Hogan comes out also 10 seconds too early. Lugar and Arn Anderson get 2-on-1 on Hogan. Hogan is battling Arn, while Lugar is being worked by the outsiders. Flair comes out and begins to strut instead of just start fighting everyone in front of Hogan to lead him into a 1-on-1. Flair reveals the brass knucks to knock out Hogan. And then we get the final man. Sting comes out to the ring. Well, quote unquote Sting comes out to the ring for the NWO. And I love this version of NWO Sting.
Yes.
It is the perfect version of Sting because it's like old surfer Sting, but now he's like dark, gritty Vegas Sting. Like he has like black and gold glitter all over him.
Yeah.
And still with the black and white face paint, but it's like surfer Sting style. It's not like the Crow. And it's great, dude. Another one Mattel needs to get on. Just saying.
So that in between hairstyle Sting. That's what when NWO first showed up. That's when Sting was growing out the blonde, and I thought that
Yes.
was one of the coolest things around. Yeah, Mattel, jump on that.
Crowd begins chanting, "We want Sting." It seems like something is up here.
Oh,
That's when
his
NWO.
owl was the best. His ow.
It was bad. Sting is running. Well, NWO Sting is running wild on the faces. That's when what? Sting runs in and joins the faces. The real Sting takes out the fake Sting. We get some real Stinger splashes to the NWO. But then after Sting runs wild on the NWO, he just chooses to leave.
It's a big
You know,
you.
War Games, the match where you're supposed to submit if you leave.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
that's just what I've always thought.
Yeah,
And
I don't see. I'm trying to remember now. I should have taken note of this. Was he an official entrant, or did he just show up unannounced?
he was an official
off the time?
entrant. You know,
Okay.
he they said, "Oh, we have a fourth man," and he came out when the clock came up. And to me, it's like everyone was like dogging on saying like, "Oh, you're not going to be there for us. You screwed us over." And in the end, he screwed them over.
He did, but that's because he had enough of this doubting him. Sting is the one, for sure guy that was going to be true and true to WCW to the end.
But isn't that exactly what kind of like Nick Patrick is going through at the same time? Like,
yeah, that's why he's like, man, okay, in my notes, I actually put Sting leaves, and you know what? WCW deserves it. They do. F you, WCW. And Nick Patrick just took a different road.
So then NWO Sting has Luger in a Scorpion Deathlock, and Hogan locks in a headlock to Luger, and the referee calls for the bell. It was a very, very weird finish. Sting,
very short War Games.
Was that? Oh yeah, very short.
As an actual match, it was very short.
Yeah, a very weird short match. Yeah, like I said, I thought Sting turning his back on the WCW. It does lead up to him eventually walking away and coming back as Crow Sting.
Yep.
So
the famous speech where from now on the Stinger is a free agent. The only thing that's for sure with the Stinger is that nothing's for sure.
Yeah, he leaves and then comes back months later. After the match, the commentators close the show out as they usually do in WCW pay-per-views. That's when the NWO wreak havoc on the set. Yeah, man, because really deceived by the ending of this match. You said it was a short match because like there was about 10 minutes left in the show and the match just kind of ended, you know? What did you think this was like just a bad War Games match or the worst War Games you've ever seen? Okay. I think it's the worst I've seen.
It is as an actual match.
NXT and WWE War Games have been better than these.
Oh, the original War Games were better than these. The Four Horsemen versus, Dusty Rhodes, Nikita Koloff, and the Road Warriors. Anything is better than this one. That being said, the story is being pushed. First, let me put a disclaimer out. F you, Eric Bischoff, for saying anything about Tony Khan being buddy with the talent because you were on the NWO's sacks.
Well, also look at like I know Diamond Dallas Page worked his ass off, but he was great friends with him too. Like,
yeah,
so
that's true. I mean, Eric Bischoff was more buddy than anyone in the business. Let's say that. First of all, second of all, this is
anyone really is young executives are.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're pushing NWO as this, massive heel stable, the most massive at the time in history.
Yeah.
So I understand this, but they really didn't heed their own downfall, which is too many run-ins, too many heel moments, too many pay-per-views where NWO ended the show just like this. It started to get really tiring, but the Sting whole Starrcade thing was coming up, and we didn't get paid off the way we should have.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
Here's the thing. I looking back at this War Games match, I thought it would have been cooler if Sting just never showed. Like Sting really just doesn't show, and maybe like that was really Sting still fighting us? We don't know.
Right.
And
then the fans get zero reward.
Yeah.
At least we got Sting clearing house and then telling them, what did he say? Is that enough? Is that enough for you? I'm the real Stinger. Is that enough?
He's like, wait, my car is here. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Can I give Lex Lugar some props for It's amazing Oscar performance.
What are you
When-
doing, Sting?
When he was crawling on the floor, Stinger, Stinger, why? Oh my god, that was great.
Lugar.
One more thing I'd like to add on to this.
It's funny, they both become NWO members eventually too.
Yeah, they do, black and red. I don't know if it was this one, but for the longest they had like, especially when the Giant first joined,
Yeah,
they always had endings where they would take over the announce booth. I don't know if it was this one, I wasn't paying attention, but then I remembered later on, like
Giant smoking a cigarette.
Giant smoking a cigarette.
He smoked a cigarette a lot on camera.
Yeah, he did. And then there was one time where he was in the back. I think he was in street clothes, and Kevin Nash looked back there and went, "Is it true you're Andre the Giant's son?" And he was like, "No." Oh my god, that's one of the most.
No, dude.
I love that fucking moment. I gotta find it. I need to know what show it's on. If you ever run into it in one of your Nitro watches, let me know.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my god.
Well, I mean, definitely the Giant. Like I said, 25 years old. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that about does it here for us today. Fall Brawl 1996 is in the books. We've officially reviewed it. We will never, ever watch it again.
Well, okay. Look, let me say this. Horrible pay-per-view. I had fun watching it all 6 times that I put it on to catch up to it. Try to watch it.
Well, even when I was reviewing my notes again, I just had it on the background. Just kind of was like, okay. I know there was like, like I said, the tagline for the show should have been what it was.
Yeah. I get it. I know what they were trying to do. It's just it wasn't done well. Let's say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think about does it here for us at City Wrestling Radio. We're going to get out of here. Don't forget to check out all of our other past retro reviews, and each and every week catch up with us here at City Wrestling Radio for the latest in wrestling news, reviews if there's a pay-per-view, and all that good stuff every week here on whatever you're listening to: YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple, Spotify. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and X. I'm not going to say it formally, Twitter. Yeah. So, guys, have a great day. Have some Oakland Soul merch. And we'll see you again next month with another retro review. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.